moment you explain yourself, you lose. You may think you're being clear, honest, respectful. You may believe that if people understand your intentions, they'll treat you fairly. That if you just explain your reasoning, they'll back off. That if you open up, clarify, and justify, you'll earn trust. But Machiavelli would tell you the opposite. Every time you explain yourself, you give away power. You show them where your boundaries begin and end. You show them what triggers you. You show them that you care what they think. And the moment someone knows you need to be understood, they know how to manipulate you. This is the trap. You explain yourself to avoid conflict, to correct a misunderstanding, to prove that your intentions were good. But what you're really doing is submitting to their perception of you. You're saying your version of the story matters more than my position. Your misunderstanding is now my responsibility. Your comfort is more important than my presence. And Machiavelli would call that a fatal mistake, because in the world of power, perception isn't something you chase. It's something you shape. And the second you try to defend yourself, you've already accepted their frame. Let's make this clear. Explaining is not the same as communicating. Machiavelli believed in clarity, but he didn't believe in justification. To justify is to kneel, to say, I want you to like me enough not to think I'm wrong. I need you to know I meant well. I'm afraid of being misunderstood. But Machiavelli didn't fear misunderstanding. He used it because when you don't explain yourself, people are forced to guess. They project, they analyze, they obsess, and the power shifts from you needing their approval to them needing your clarity. That's the first principle. Mystery is more powerful than accuracy. Now, let's talk about where this instinct to over-explain really comes from. It's fear. Fear of judgment. Fear of being labeled as selfish, cold, arrogant, or wrong. You explain yourself because you were trained to believe that if people misunderstood you, you failed. But Machiavelli would tell you, let them misunderstand. Let them guess why you didn't respond. Let them wonder why you changed direction. Let them fill the silence with their own insecurity. Because every second they spend trying to figure you out is a second they're not in control. And that confusion, that silence, that emotional tension, that's leverage. Here's how it plays out in the real world. You say no to someone's request. They ask why. You start explaining, it's not a good time. I've got something else. I hope you understand. You think you're being polite, but what you're really doing is inviting negotiation. Now they can say, okay, but what if we do it another time? What if I help you with your task first? What if it's quick? Suddenly your no becomes a maybe. Your boundary becomes a discussion, and your power begins to erode. But imagine this. You say no. They ask why, and you just pause, smile, slightly, maybe say, because that's my choice. Now they have nothing, no foothold, no logic to argue, no weakness to exploit. That's not rudeness, that's Machiavellian control. The same applies to confrontation. Someone accuses you of something you didn't do. They twist the story. They try to corner you, and your first instinct, explain, defend, clarify. But the more you explain, the more they lead. You're responding, reacting, operating inside their frame. And that's the one place a Machiavellian never stays because he understands. The one who explains is the one who feels inferior. The king doesn't explain why he sat on the throne. The general doesn't explain why he marched. The wolf doesn't explain why it left the herd behind. They act and let others interpret, because interpretations can't hurt you when you refuse to care about them. There's a deeper principle here. Silence forces people to reveal more than truth ever will. When you don't explain yourself, you watch how others fill the gap. Do they lash out? Try harder to convince you? Get passive, aggressive, grow quiet and insecure? All of those are tells, psychological signals, clues to how they operate under pressure. And once you see that, you don't just win the moment. You gain a long-term map of who they really are. Your silence becomes a test, and their response becomes a confession. Machiavelli didn't just avoid explaining for ego. He avoided it for strategy, because every explanation is a reveal, a detail about how you think, a sign of what matters to you, a crack in the armor. And the man who explains too often starts bleeding credibility. He no longer moves with power. He moves with permission. And the moment you need permission, you're no longer in control. So what should you do? Instead, say less, pause longer, let silence do the work. When someone challenges you, don't defend. When someone misunderstands you, don't chase correction. When someone demands her answers, don't give them immediately. Instead say, that's not something I feel the need to explain. Or, you're free to see it that way. Or say nothing at all. Because in power games, clarity is earned, not given. And the ones who want to understand you will learn to observe, not interrogate. And that's when the shift happens. People stop trying to corner you. They start watching you. They stop pushing. They start respecting. Not because you screamed, not because you explained, but because you refused to play their game. And the one who doesn't play makes the rules. Most people live with the belief that if they're misunderstood, it's their job to fix it. They want to be seen as reasonable, as fair, as kind. But Machiavelli would tell you, those who crave being seen a certain way are already owned by those watching. The moment you feel compelled to explain, you have already placed the other person above you. You are signaling that their view of you has power, that it matters enough for you to break your own focus, to pause your mission, your vision, your pace, just to clarify something for their comfort. And in that moment, you've fallen, not loudly, but psychologically. You are no longer acting from control. You are reacting from fear. It's a subtle shift, but Machiavelli built his entire philosophy around the subtle shifts that destroy power before anyone sees them happening. Explaining yourself may feel like clarity, but most of the time it's a disguised plea. Please don't judge me. Please don't get the wrong idea. Please still like me. And when people sense that, they smell blood. People will never respect what they can negotiate. And the moment you explain yourself too much, you become negotiable. Your boundaries become suggestions. Your identity becomes a discussion, and your authority becomes a group project. One that everyone gets to weigh in on. Machiavelli would never allow that. He knew the cost of letting others believe they could reshape you. He moved like this. He made decisions. He gave no disclaimers. He said little. And when questioned, he let the silence speak. Not because he didn't have an answer, but because giving it would lower his altitude. Here's the brutal truth. Most people don't want clarity. They want control. When someone asks you to explain, it's not always because they're confused. It's often because they want access. Access to your thought process, to your motives, to your doubts. Why? So they can prepare for you, adjust to you, outmaneuver you every detail you share, every time you justify, defend, or unpack your choices. You give them a clearer map, a map they can use against you. But when you refuse to explain, they are left in uncertainty. And uncertainty does something extraordinary. It creates psychological pressure. The pressure to guess, to interpret, to wonder. And in that mental space, people expose themselves far more than if you had just clarified everything for them. You don't get that kind of insight by talking. You get it by letting them squirm in the silence. You create. Imagine this. You pull away from someone. They confront you. Did I do something wrong? You don't answer. You smile faintly. Maybe say, I noticed a few things, that's all. Then you let it hang. That moment will haunt them because now their brain is working against them. It will spiral, replaying conversations, guessing, panicking, projecting. And meanwhile, you've learned exactly what you needed to know. What they fear, how they react to power, how they try to regain control, all because you didn't explain. Machiavelli would call that strategic silence. You didn't clarify. You observed. And by doing so, you saw more of them than they'll ever see of you. Here's what most don't understand. Explaining yourself often hurts your credibility. It suggests you're not solid in your decision. It signals uncertainty. It invites contradiction. People trust confidence, not accuracy. When you act decisively and say little, they assume you must have good reasons. They invent them. They fill in the blanks in your favor. But when you explain every move, you give them a chance to pick it apart. Oh, so that's why he did it. That doesn't really make sense. I wouldn't have done it that way. Sounds like he's just trying to sound smart. The very act of explaining opens the door to doubt. Even if your logic is flawless, Machiavelli knew this. That's why he cultivated mystique. He let people wonder, and in wondering, they respected him more. There's another layer. When you stop explaining, you force people to confront something they fear, a version of you that doesn't need to be liked. That version is dangerous because that version can't be manipulated. They can't guilt you. They can't shame you. They can't bait you into arguments because you don't need to clear the air. You don't need to set the record straight. You don't need them to understand your side. And when someone realizes they can't reach that part of you, they retreat or they submit. That's what power does. It creates space. It bends interaction to your tempo. It makes your silence more valuable than their noise. So how do you build that? You train yourself to hold tension, to stay calm when misunderstood, to resist the pull, to clarify every detail of your actions. You let people think what they want, and while they form opinions, you keep moving. Because the truth is this: you don't owe anyone an explanation. Your decisions don't need permission. Your path doesn't need applause. Only the weak need to be understood at every step. The strong move first and let the story be written afterward. This is what Machiavelli practiced. He never rushed to defend, never tried to look innocent, never gave the enemy enough information to predict his next move. He understood that mystery isn't just a weapon, it's a shield. And the more you speak, the more holes you put in it. So stop patching every misunderstanding. Stop responding to every challenge. Stop thinking that silence is weakness, because the less you explain, the more they listen. When you explain yourself, you think you're protecting your reputation. But what you're actually doing is putting it up for auction. Every time you clarify, justify, or walk back what you said, you're giving the world this message: my image is negotiable. That's what makes explanation so dangerous in Machiavellian terms. It invites debate. It signals flexibility. It tells people they can shape how you're seen if they just push hard enough. And once someone knows they can reshape you, they don't need to overpower you. They just need to keep you talking. Machiavelli understood that silence terrifies weak minds. When you don't explain yourself, they imagine you know something they don't. They assume your reasons are too sharp, too complex, too private for them to grasp. They begin respecting your boundaries, not because they agree with them, but because they can't locate the cracks. That's what power looks like, being unreadable by design. The man who refuses to explain begins to radiate control, because when no one can see your levers, no one can pull them. But let's flip the frame. What happens when you do explain yourself? You shrink. You invite others into your mind. You open the door to their interpretation. You put your logic under their microscope. Even if your explanation is flawless, you've now given them permission to critique your values, your judgment, your worldview. And they will. Not because you were wrong, but because you gave them the right to question you. Machiavelli would call this the self-inflicted dethroning. You hand them the crown just to prove you're not a tyrant. But once it's off your head, it's never fully yours again. Now, think about how powerful figures actually behave. Do world leaders explain themselves every time they act? Dominant CEOs get on calls to clarify every minor decision. Do apex predators stop to justify why they struck when they did? No, because when you explain too often, you don't look thoughtful, you look insecure. And Machiavelli knew that insecurity is the easiest scent for enemies to track. It's like blood in the water. If they sense that you need them to get it, they will never stop testing how far they can push you. Here's what's more effective than any explanation: a shift in energy. Someone accuses you of being cold. Don't explain. Amplify it. Respond colder. Let them feel the distance. Someone says, "You're acting different lately." Don't say, "Yeah, I've just been busy." Say, yes then, nothing more. This does two things. It forces them to sit in the discomfort they tried to offload onto you. It makes you the mirror. They see themselves reflected in your silence, not in your justification. And that's where real psychological power lies. Not in proving yourself right, but in letting the silence reveal who's insecure enough to demand an explanation. We're not talking about coldness for ego. We're talking about restraint for control. Machiavelli understood that every kingdom falls not by force alone, but by overexposure. Your reasoning is part of your strategy, and strategy should never be public property. Every time you explain, you expose your pattern. You reveal your emotional triggers. You teach people how to talk you into or out of things, and the man who can be talked into or out of things is not powerful. He's predictable. Predictability, Machiavelli warned, is the beginning of defeat. There's a phrase in statecraft: deniability is power. But Machiavelli would say ambiguity is greater, because deniability means someone suspects you. Ambiguity means they're not even sure what to suspect. They don't know what you believe, what your end game is, what will trigger you, or what will fail to. That kind of mental fog doesn't make you weak. It makes you untouchable. Because enemies don't attack what they can't map. Here's a brutal lesson most never learn. Explaining yourself never actually fixes judgment. People don't believe you because you explained. They believe you because your presence forced them to. You don't become respected by clearing every misunderstanding. You become respected when your silence speaks louder than their accusations. And when you hold frame in that silence, even if they're still unsure what you meant. They know not to push again. So, how do you put this into practice? Cut 50% of your verbal explanations immediately. Next time someone asks, "Why did you do that?" answer with confidence, not context. Replace "Let me explain" with "I've made my decision." That one sentence can stop hours of manipulation before it starts. Let people misunderstand you intentionally. This is one of the rarest skills. Controlled misinterpretation. You know they're getting it wrong. You let them because it keeps them looking in the wrong direction while you move forward. And when they finally realize the truth, it's too late. You've already won. Power isn't about being seen clearly. It's about being unreadable, undeniable, and unbothered. Machiavelli never wanted to be liked. He wanted to be feared, respected, or misunderstood in a way that worked in his favor. Because the man who cannot be pinned down is the man no one dares to corner. There is a moment in every power dynamic when someone looks you in the eye and asks, "So, what did you mean by that?" And in that moment, the weak man breaks. He rushes to clarify. He wants to fix the misunderstanding. He wants to make sure they don't think he's arrogant, cold, dishonest, selfish. But the Machiavellian doesn't break. He doesn't clarify. He watches because he knows. If they need to ask what you meant, you already have the upper hand. They're searching. They're uncomfortable. They're responding to you. And if you explain yourself, the dynamic flips. You just gave them control of the frame. But if you hold the silence, if you let them squirm in the unknown, they'll never forget it. This is the final power of not explaining. You become a question they can't answer. And that question begins to haunt people. It lives in the space between what they think of you and what they can't figure out about you. That's where respect lives, not in clarity, but in calculated ambiguity. Because in a world where everyone overshares, overdefends, and over-explains, the one who doesn't simply feels like power. Look around, everyone is addicted to clarity. They explain every emotion. They justify every move. They can't stand being misunderstood for a single second. But Machiavelli knew the opposite was true. The man who lets people get it wrong on purpose is always 10 steps ahead. Because while they're reacting to your silence, you're watching their moves. While they're debating what you meant, you're already reshaping the outcome. This is how control is built, not by being seen, but by being felt. Machiavelli didn't need to win arguments. He didn't need to be liked. He didn't need to be understood. He needed one thing to keep his position unshakable. An explanation is a tremor. It shakes your stance. It lowers your altitude. It shows that something got to you. And once they see that, they know where to push again. The dangerous man chooses differently. He doesn't explain. He redirects. He doesn't defend. He observes. He doesn't argue. He decides. And the more others push for answers, the colder he becomes. Not as a punishment, but as a message. You are not entitled to my clarity, and I am not available for negotiation. That message is louder than any explanation you could ever give. Let's get brutally tactical. Here's what a Machiavellian does when people demand explanation. He gives short, closed responses such as, "That's how I operate," "That's what I chose," or "I said what I meant." Each sentence is a wall, not a doorway. It ends the interaction instead of continuing it. He also reverses the pressure. When asked, "Why did you do that?" he responds, "Why does it matter to you?" Or, "What do you think I meant?" Now, they're the one explaining. They're the one exposed. You flip the spotlight back onto them without raising your voice or losing control. Furthermore, he lets silence do the talking. He lets the discomfort linger. He lets them fill in the blanks. He lets them feel what it's like to be unsure, because power is not about filling space. It's about creating emotional gravity. People will say this is manipulative, and it is because manipulation is just strategy with better timing. And timing is everything when it comes to power. Explain yourself at the wrong moment, and you give away the game. Stay quiet at the right moment, and you own the room without saying a word. The world doesn't need to understand you. It needs to respond to you. So next time you feel the urge to explain, pause. Feel that tension rise in your chest, that desire to be liked, to be forgiven, to be approved of. Crush it. You don't owe them that. You don't owe them comfort. You don't owe them closure. You don't owe them a damn thing. Because if you've chosen your path with strength, if your decision was made with clarity, then their confusion is their problem. Let them wrestle with it. Let them question it. Let them talk to others about it. All while you continue to move without permission without apology, without explanation. That's what Machiavelli would do, not because he was cruel, but because he was focused. And focus is never distracted by the need to be understood. So, remember this, the man who explains too much becomes predictable. The man who's predictable becomes controllable. And the man who's controllable is already conquered. But the man who doesn't explain becomes untouchable. Let them wonder. Let them talk. Let them guess. Because while they obsess over understanding you, you'll be walking straight through them unbothered, unreadable, unmatched.